Greetings, Gilliam the Rogue here once again with a Summerset discussion video. Today we are going to open up the new armor sets coming with Summerset, and we're going to be breaking them up into a heavy armor video, a light armor video, a medium armor video, and then a crafted set video. So each one is going to be roughly about 10 to 20 minutes depending on what there is to talk about. Just going to be discussing my findings of how they scale, how they interact, cool little things about them, showing you what they look like and explaining all that sorts of stuff, and then also giving feedback, because unfortunately most of these are incredibly underwhelming from a endgame perspective. Some of them are really cool ideas or visual effects and stuff like that, but they kind of just miss the mark in terms of, like, what do I really want out of this set? Or, like, does putting this set on make me feel like I'm gaining something out of it that's worthwhile? Because there's a huge loot table in this game in terms of sets you can wear. There's tons of customization. So a set should be impactful, and it should really stand out and be like, that either defines a build or complements a build or a playstyle or a class or whatever it is. And we're going to be talking about how I feel about these in general. So we're going to start today off with the heavy armor sets. The first set that we're going to be talking about is an overland set, and it is called the Grace of Gloom. I am wearing a full set of it right now. It comes in heavy armor. Again, this is the heavy armor video. So we're wearing 7 pieces of the heavy armor. You probably noticed this motif style. This is the Ebon Shadow motif style. There's a big reason why that's here. I don't want to spoil anything, but if you've been paying attention for a while in terms of the Daedric War theme going on with questing, there is a reason why this is this style. So again, Ebon Shadow, I have Sword and Board, I have the Staff, and then there's all different weapons that we have of the set too. It comes in every single weapon of the game. It comes in jewelry that by default, as heavy armor set, it comes in healthy jewelry, and then again in heavy armor. So we'll start by looking at the set itself. So we have a 2-piece is max health, 3-piece is 4% healing taken, and 4-piece is max health again, so relatively standard for tanks. Not the best stats in the game, but not the worst either. The max health is always helpful as a tank. And then the 4% healing taken will work for your self heals that you cast on yourself, as well as heals that you receive from other players. So it has the duality of nature of benefiting both the tank themselves, so if you cast Vigor, or Dragon's Blood, or Funnel Health, this will proc on yourself too with the healing taken and apply. It will not apply to your tooltip, it will apply to the after effect of whatever healing you receive. Pretty straightforward. Again, healing received and healing done. Not my favorite set bonuses in general, just because there's so many amps to healing in the game already. From a PvE standpoint, they're not necessary, because it's not like I need this 4% healing to survive that one-shot mechanic, or it's not really doing anything. It's giving a tiny little bit of efficiency, but you don't really get the feeling of the set bonus itself that stands out. Like, wow, I really feel that 4% healing taken. It's like, it's whatever. And then in PvP, there's already too much healing in general, so more set bonuses to that I don't necessarily want. But pretty standard 2 through 4 piece. The 5 piece is the big one here. Fortunately, we have a proc set here that's going to be kind of the theme of Summerset. It's kind of disappointing, but when you take damage from a single target direct attack or ability, so light and heavy attacks from dual wield, two-handed, bow, inferno staves, but not resto or lightning heavy attacks, their light attacks will proc it, and then any ability that hits once and is direct damage. So again, it's going to be single target and then direct damage. So a singular attack that only hits once. So an attack like surprise attack, single target direct damage. A thing like Sap Essence is AoE direct damage, so Sap Essence wouldn't proc this. So it needs to be hitting you only and hitting once. So it's going to happen a lot from a PvE standpoint. Most mechanics in the game are considered single target direct attacks that the tank has to worry about, at least. So being punched in the face, stuff like that, that'll proc it. You have a 10% chance to become Living Shadow, pretty edgy, fitting the theme of, again, Summerset, some of the stuff going on there. Causing your light and heavy attacks to heal you for X and gaining major evasion for 5 seconds, giving you 15% dodge chance for the duration. with a 15-second cooldown. So the cooldown begins as soon as the item set procs. So it technically has a 10-second downtime, so you're going to have a 1/3 uptime. So 33.3% repeating uptime is the maximum. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen because, again, it does have that proc chance built in. So in terms of making a good proc set, you never want to have a proc chance and a cooldown that goes below or above the duration, because if you have that, you're going to have like a pretty iffy proc set. Now, some of them do exclude this rule, like mechanical acuity and stuff like that, but generally, if they have a low proc rate and a long cooldown that doesn't allow them to be up at 100% uptime or near it, then generally going to be kind of iffy. And in this case, it's going to be kind of iffy. The other big thing about this is, as a tanking set inherently, is like, ooh, major evasion, I might want that as a tank. It's hard to get that as a heavy armor tank. You heal on light and heavy attacks, and that's not something a tank does very often. You don't weave a lot, like squeeze in light attacks between all of your abilities. You can, but it's in short increments, like maybe when you're taunting an enemy, and even then, most players generally don't do it because it's clunky. It's more difficult. You're already tanking 50 different mobs at once. You don't want to make things harder for yourself, so you generally don't weave. And then the heavy attacking is kind of nice because you might want to do that here and there, but it's not something that you're going to be able to do every time it procs, because maybe it procs during a really dangerous mechanic, and if you let go of that block, you're going to die, and you can't block while light or heavy attacking, so you're going to have to drop blocks. So it's this risk-reward sort of thing, and as a proc set, the heal can't crit. The heal will scale with healing done and healing taken, or received. They're both the same thing. Taken and received are identical as the stat, they're just named differently. And then healing done, and then in the CP system, it will scale with blessed for healing done, and then quick recovery for healing received. So it does have some scaling mechanisms, but it also can be defiled from major defile, other sets that might reduce healing, etc. So in PvP, it'll also be cut in half by Battle Spirit. So in terms of its tooltip, too, it's pretty small. Generally, if you let go of block, you're going to be taking a lot of damage. And this healing you'd think would kind of give that back, but it unfortunately doesn't, because most mobs hit more than 3k in a PvE setting, and again, it can't crit. So if you're tanking a boss, you're not going to be able to just drop block and light attack, and then it's also going to have a long cooldown. So generally disappointed with this set, visually as well as terms of the armor appearance. We saw this already in Clockwork City. Again, it makes sense of why it's here, but I'm kind of disappointed that it isn't a new style. Maybe that'll change. But I will show the proc chance, or the visual effect. The visual effect is beautiful. I really, really like it. Here it is. We kind of coalesce with shadow, become living, and then every time we light attack, like our body like glows purple, and like the light comes in. But yeah, all around, pretty disappointing set. Again, visually stellar. Looks really good when it's up. Not up enough, though, and the proc itself, like, all it is visual gratification. It is not gameplay gratifying as well, at least in my opinion. So now we're going to move on to the next set, and that is a trial set. So there's going to be two trial sets that come in heavy armor. They are identical in terms of what they do, but one is slightly better. So there is the Gallon Way set. And it's going to come in a normal and a perfected version. So I'll go ahead and plop all of this on. So let's make sure we're not wearing any perfected. So here we are. We're in all of it. It's a new style. It is visually stellar. I'll go through the weapons and stuff. So I'll show that. It's a pretty cool looking set. I think the wings on the back are a little bit derpy, but other than that, it looks visually gorgeous, incredibly high definition. It dies really well. I've played around with it. The weapons all look cool. There's the axe. Here's the bow. Very eagle-y in nature, or griffin-like. That makes a little bit more sense. Here's this, the dagger. Here's the battle axe. You can kind of get a theme for it. It's a lot of griffins or eagle. Very regal as well. Greatsword is pretty badass. And then we'll show one of the staves, so kind of get an idea. Again, very Old Mary Dominion-like, bringing out a lot of that bird motif. Very cool looking set visually. But now we'll go through the set itself. So again, we're going to have a max health bonus and a 4% healing taken, identical to Gloom. But then the 4-piece is going to be stamina recovery. Not very happy with this because tanks don't generate stamina while blocking. Their stamina recovery is disabled, and as a tank, especially with this set, where you want to be blocking, this is a useless set bonus, because the 5-piece is after successfully blocking, you heal an ally within 15 meters for X health. This effect can happen every 2 seconds, so you want to be blocking to proc this set, but if you're doing that, you're disabling your 4-piece. So, very counterintuitive, very disappointed in that. Proc set cannot crit. Again, it will scale with healing done, and only healing done amps for you, and then your allies healing received amps. This set cannot proc on the tank themselves. If you block damage, I can demonstrate here, it will not heal me. It needs to heal an ally. So if you have a pet or a buddy in a group, it will heal them. So again, I can kind of just walk up to this Welwa, and we're seeing that it's not proccing on me. I can even take a little bit of damage, drop a little bit below, and then we'll start blocking attacks. And even if we're not at full health, it's not going to heal us. So, very disappointed, again, with that right away. Doesn't proc on herself. It's going to have a 2-second cooldown, so you can't multi-proc it. Cannot crit again. 15 meters range is pretty decent, although most tanks, that's going to be mainly healing the stamina DPS in, like, a group, because you can't use that solo. So 4-mans, it would heal some people, but if you're a range build, you're not going to be gaining effect out of it. Stuff like that. Again, can't proc on yourself. I think if it would proc on yourself, it would be a little bit more usable. It would be kind of nice, but still generally disappointed. This is a trial set. This comes from the new trial, Cloud Rest. Very unintuitive from a gameplay decision, because it's like it doesn't fit the theme of the trial, especially for the tank role. It's not really augmenting gameplay. You're not getting a big reward out of it. It's not changing any dynamics of how you approach a fight. It's just that, hey, now when you block, you might heal someone, but it's a pretty low amount. In PvP, it will be affected by Battle Spirit. It will be affected by, again, your healing done, and then whoever it heals, their healing received, but it will also be afflicted by, or affected by, healing reduction as well, so like Major Defile and all that sorts of stuff. So, again, pretty disappointed with that. I can quickly show the Perfected set has no difference in appearance whatsoever, so I'm kind of disappointed from that standpoint as well. There's no visual difference on the Perfected set, which is pretty sad in my opinion, because it's like, this is a perfect version. It's coming from the hardest content, Veteran Hard Mode. It should stand out. But if we look at the tooltip difference, it goes from 3320, this is purple, it can go up to gold, and it will be affected by healing done and all that sorts of stuff, so you can get it higher, to 3486. So literally a 166 health increase from going from the easiest content, not easiest content in the game, but going from the easiest version, which is normal Cloud Rest plus 0, to Veteran Cloud Rest plus 3. So 3 mini bosses and the major boss at the same exact time, getting 186 extra health out of it. Very disappointing. Hopefully we see some stuff. ZeniMax has already admitted that their trial sets are very lackluster at the moment. They're hoping to improve upon them. So when this goes live, I will be doing another review of them. But just in general, very disappointed with the heavy armor sets. Visually, again, there is no difference between them. Like, I put on the Battle Axe. That looks, it looks pretty cool, but then we put on the Perfected Battle Axe, and there's no difference of it. It doesn't stand out compared to the Asylum weapons, where there is a little bit difference of color, of their base nature, although now that we can dye our weapons, even that's kind of boring too. So just generally disappointed with the direction of these sets in particular for the heavy armor. Very boring in my opinion, long cooldowns, not very effective, they're not changing gameplay. Visually, again, Gloomgraced does look badass, but the Gallonway, can't proc on yourself, that sorts of stuff. Very disappointed in general. Hopefully we see some changes, but let me know what you guys think about it. Maybe you guys have some different opinions. What builds would you like to see it used in and stuff like that? But I know for myself personally, I would never really use these sets, other than maybe some edgy RP stuff with Gloomgrace. But again, hopefully stuff changes. Maybe you guys can get in the feedback as well. Let Zos know what you think on the official forums, Reddit, YouTube, whatever it is. Just remember to stay constructive. So that'll be it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys around.